All right, everybody. Welcome in. We got a lot going on this week. Let's get right into the reading. We have a Chiron retrograde happening this week that will last until the end of the year. I think it's January 2nd, actually, that it goes direct. And Chiron is about your wounded healer, which means it's not really about the healing part. It's about the recognizing the parts of you that aren't perfect, maybe the ones you want to shove down and don't look at and are ashamed of, have some shame around, have some embarrassment around. And this is really the place where your superpower rests. So where it lies, dormant, if you keep shoving it down, like you're shoving away a superpower. So I am going to talk about that more in our Pathfinders this week. It'll probably come out in this reading. We'll see what happens. We're also in Lionsgate energy. The portal really did open up on the 26th of July. It peaks on the 8th of August. And that's where people talk about Lionsgate as that portal. And it really does have to do with spiritual awakening, spiritual enlightenment. So there's a lot going on astrologically. We will talk about Lionsgate in my astrology group on Thursday. I do have several announcements to make about the astrology group that is going to be happening this fall, this foundations course. And so we'll talk about all of that stuff this week. Right now, I'm just going to shuffle. Here we go. Let's get right into it. All right. What wants to come out today? Co-creating with the universe, this manifestation. The flexible card is here. Okay. Fork in the road. We've been feeling that for quite some time. Happy. So this is about happiness might look different than you have it pictured in your mind. So that's what's blocking your manifestation. You have an image in your mind of what happiness is, but that's not actually what's going to give you the feeling of happiness. And that's what's blocking your manifestation. Wow. So really important part of manifestation is stop micromanaging the universe and telling it, who to bring in, you can who to bring in, but they do have free will. So just so you know, I just feel like that is blocking manifestation right now. So whatever you're trying to bring about in your life, you're a much stronger manifester than you think. I feel like all of the outer planets moving into air and fire signs this year are going to show you what it means to be an instant manifester. We've had those outer planets in earth signs, water signs, right? Saturn moved into Aries from Pisces. That's an interpersonal planet. It was the furthest out planet. And so we thought that was the edge of the frontier, but then we got Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and wow. That is what's driving our awareness of being immediate manifestors now. This is generational. This isn't just like a few people on the spiritual path are going to be the only ones manifesting. So just think about that. Like there's going to be this sense of like, I can manifest whatever I want kind of immediately. And that's going to impact everybody. So like, take it seriously, but don't try to micromanage the universe. That's what's stopping you. The Knight of Swords, the Six of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, the Justice card, and the Moon. All right. So we also had last week that new moon in Leo that we're talking so much about, because that new moon really was activating energy for Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, and Saturn. And so all of these kind of very strong, powerful beacons of change, transformation, spiritual awakening, spiritual enlightenment, they were all activated by that new moon. And I do feel like there's two cards here of balance. So we're going to be brought back into balance. Things are out of balance right now. The Six of Swords and the Knight of Swords, right? There's a lot of anger and rage, a lot of fast moving emotions, fast talking. We have Mercury retrograde, so be careful what you say. Six of Swords is a desire to move on from that, a desire to move on from the sharp rhetoric or the communication that isn't serving us as a collective, and the desire to move into something that's happy. This is has to be one of my favorite cards, right? Happy. All right. So we're at a fork in the road. We are at this crossroads right now and have been standing here for quite a while. Okay. As a collective, we've been standing here for quite a while. I almost feel like the Chiron retrograde for the rest of this year is going to help us individually see the parts of ourselves that we push away or that we had wounds around in childhood. We're going to see them as this very strong, balancing, energetic experience. It's almost like, the opposite of conformity. Like we're, in the 1950s and early 1960s, everything was very much about conforming, right? Like everybody had to do the same thing. It's a group dynamic. Okay. It's a group dynamic that you don't want to be the outcast. You don't want to be, but then a lot of us on the spiritual path were scapegoated and were black sheep of the family and things like that. And so that really did embolden, empower, and create people who were of stronger stuff, kind of like, oh, well, I withstood this as a kid. And so now it's made me even more available to my authentic self, which is really what the Age of Aquarius is about, which is why the people on the spiritual path, and a lot of you, I feel like it's a very common thing for people on the spiritual path to have been scapegoats of the family or black sheeps. And it's bringing us back into balance of like, true authenticity is really what Aquarius is all about, and moving into the Age of Aquarius. The Lionsgate portal happens and opens on the 26th of July and peaks on the 8th of August when Leo in Leo sun is aligned with Sirius, and that's a star, and it is said to be the spiritual gateway. This is why Lionsgate, we talk about it every single year, and it is a time when some kind of spiritual awakening, personal spiritual awakening. But this year I feel like there's a much more mass, because of all the astrological stuff we've been talking about in 2025. There's a much bigger collective movement toward awakening. And I think you're seeing that all around you right now. The Lover's card, there's Gemini. I don't know. Okay, Three of Cups and the Three of Wands. I'm just going to follow what's happening here. Normally, I would continue to use this deck, but Chiron is driving our subconscious. It's traveling through our subconscious. So I picked up this deck. I'm going to just go for it. Ace of Swords. I'll show you what that reading was, so we won't lose it. Nine of Swords and the Queen of Swords. The Seven of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the Page of Swords. So this is driving some kind of awakening here. The choices we make, the choices we have made in the past, we are turning our collective backs on. The truths that we don't want to see, right, are going to be driving the future. Whoopsie. Sorry, Queen of Swords. And the resistance we've had to a new opportunity of love is going to be rekindled. Page of Swords. Some kind of communication here. Now I'm going to lay this out too. This is not what I normally do, but what is right now, right? Six of Cups. We got another Six of Cups, another six here. The Three of Cups again. This is why it's interesting to use multiple decks in a reading. Ace of Cups. Multiple times. Three of Cups and Ace of Cups. And if you want to learn to read tarot from me, you can. There's a link below for my class. So that's really interesting. The three Ace, Three, and Six of Cups, Eight of Swords, a little bit like that Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords in the same spot. 10 of Swords, 8, 9, 10, right in a row. There's the Six of Wands. We have all the sixes plus the Lover's card. So the number 6 is about choices, but it's also about this second, if you cut up the minor arcana from 2 to 10, aces are not included in this. This is part of my tarot class too. Aces are not included in this because they are driving the power of the whole suit, and neither are the court cards, Page, Knight, Queen, King. It's really 2 through 10. And when we are looking at them numerologically, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? You could look at just the single digits in numerology. Numerology looks at it differently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't go to double digits. Numerology always distills to a single digit. So there's something here about the end of the second decan, the end of the second wave, the end of the second phase of this. So there was a first phase, and you can, extrapolate this to your own life. There was a first phase where it was very much about not telling the truth and then being in relationships for a really, really long time until you finally discovered who someone was, right? Especially if you were living life ignoring your own wounds, that they became blindfolds, okay? They became blinders for you. And so it was a really, really long time that you had to wait it out to see who somebody was. Now we're moving into we're in the second phase of it. We're at the end of the second phase where we're like, okay, what we used to do doesn't work, but I don't know what it is that's gonna work. And so we're to the place where we say to the universe, back to this manifesting idea, we're back to the place where we say to the universe, okay, this is what I want. I want happy, happy. Bring me happy. And we kind of let it go. And we also are at that crossroads at the end of this second phase of something where we're realizing that, oh, if I just take off my blindfolds or my blinders, Queen of Swords has no blinders on. If I just take off my blinders, I can see who people are intuitively, spiritually. I can just see through the veil that they're trying to create around themselves. Very Chiron retrograde. That I can see through. I can see what someone doesn't want me to see. And this is where we're at this fork in the road where we make choices differently. We make choices. We start to trust our intuition. I feel like that's coming. That's what this Lion's Gate could empower. That we're starting to really believe in our intuition, and we're moving away. We're moving back into balance. So if we were out of balance before, where we just paid no attention to our intuition, and then we completely went the whole other way, and we were just like shutting people off because we were like, if I can't see intuitively, then I'm just going to not do anything. And now we're like, oh, no, I'm going to be back in relationship because now I can see intuitively. So this is a little bit of like natural selection. It's going to weed people out for you much more quickly. And it's going to weed out jobs. It's going to weed out relationships that are going to be, taking you around and around and around in the same cycles over and over again. And I feel like it's coming through. Your intuition's opening up in the night, in the middle of the night. So you may have some sleepless nights. I know I have. And that's going to be over. Once you take your blinders off, there's no more need for you to have sleepless nights because you're seeing this now in the daytime. It doesn't need to seep into your awareness when your guard is down, right? When your guard is up, and in the old way of things, I didn't want to see that truth. I was really blocking that truth. Even though that was an opportunity for me, I wasn't seeing it that way because I wanted to just make this choice and, my intuition be damned. And now I'm like, well, not everything that's offered to me is offered in the same spirit. Not everybody that comes across my path is the same as I am. Not everybody, every single person, every single situation has something for me. And it's really up to me to determine what that is, which is why the Queen of Swords is so beautiful in this place. And then we have this, which I don't normally do, but I'm going to totally just go for this. Six of Wands, Page of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. So there's a sense of like a new way of being in the world. The old way has betrayed us. The old way of blinders on and people pleasing and whatever it is has betrayed us. But the trade-off is now everybody can see. So you don't get to be perfect anymore. You don't get to create this persona because people will see it like AI. It's not real. You're seeing what's real in people and what's not real in people. You're going to be that's what this Sirius gateway, this Lion's Gate is going to be about. You're really going to see people much more clearly, even though, you know, a lot of times we don't want to see people clearly because we fear getting hurt, but then we get hurt because we don't see them clearly. So this can show up as a person coming back. I feel like there is a person coming back from the past. There's going to be some kind of apology, okay, some kind of conversation, and you're going to get to test this out. So just, you know, Mercury retrograde, a lot of people have people coming back from the past. This Sirius gateway, this Lion's Gate is going to give you that opportunity to see things in a new light. Okay, see things in a new light and not block yourself. It's like the lens is falling. The Empress, the Two of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Magician. So really leaning into Venus energy here. And it's unconditional love. If you have been saying that or been really that's your mantra and you've been people pleasing, you're going to see that that's not what unconditional love is, because unconditional love starts with love for the self. And people pleasing is just as manipulative as a lot of things that you really hate dealing with. So you've used people pleasing. Some of you, I'm talking to some of you, have used people pleasing as a way to stay safe. It worked as a kid, especially scapegoated kids, black sheep kids. You use people pleasing as a way to stay safe. And now you see as you don't need that anymore to stay safe. You're now becoming more Queen of Swords. And you won't waste a lot of time with relationships that aren't aligned with you. And so this is the immediate manifesting that's starting to open up, because you're finally getting rid of a lot of stuff, right? That's standing in the way of really your ability, not your ability to manifest. No, it's standing in the way of the life you want to create. There's a lot of soul contracts that are going to be upended in these last 5 months of the year. Because we're going to see, right? Because we're going to see. Let's keep going. If this is your reading, I'm going to look at what you don't see coming. Let's look at the next 30 days and let's see how this plays out. Link is below if you want to continue on Pathfinders. Let's just keep going. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.